Welcome to another video from Dr. Lock. We're going to have a look at some new lock toys or lock tools. These are all the ones that I've purchased from China. I really would like to buy them from an Australian, from Australia, but the problem is all the distributors in Australia buy them from China and then they sell them on to you. So if they're coming from China, I might as well just buy them from China. So some of them are very interesting, and I'll take you through which ones I found interesting. So that way, if they're interest to you, you might purchase them. If they're no good for you, well, it doesn't really matter because they're all extremely cheap anyway. Okay, the first one here is actually not from China. I'm not too sure where it's coming from, but it's a tubular rotary pick. We call it rotary pick because it's basically a drill bit designed to defeat the lock, giving you quick access into the lock. We don't tell you on how to open locks, but I can show you what it can do. So if you're a knowledgeable person with locks and things like that, you'll be able to understand kind of what's happening here. So there's your pick right there, and as you see now, it goes straight on the top of the lock, just like so, just like that. When you're drilling, this centerpiece actually stabilizes it. So when you drill exactly where you need to drill, take out the meat, and then you can actually defeat the lock that way. The reason I bought it, and it was about $60 to $80, the reason I bought it is because it does the job very quickly and very precisely. I've actually scored the lock just a little bit, if you can see it there, that little ring that goes around. That's just from rotating it backwards like that. So you can kind of get an idea of where you're clearing the meat, and in that particular position there's very little meat. So if you drill exactly where you need to and take that meat out, you're going to be in very quickly, and you can replace the lock and move on with your day. So that one there, Solber tool, tubular lock cutter, handy to have. I mean, it is a luxury item. Most people just use a drill, they stitch drill it, they use a grinder, they grind the face off. All of these options are still options. The other tool I bought from China would have been the Tubular Lockpick, which is this one here. Now, I purchased a 7.5, and unfortunately it doesn't fit on my lock. First thing I noticed about it, the quality is all pretty much the same. You're talking $20 to $30 from China. Quality is quite good. It has the O-ring washer underneath, so you get a good feel on the actual tightening of your picks here. Has these little picks that go in and out underneath. If you can see them there, they go all the way around the outside. Has a little button here, has a bit of spring pressure there as well. So the pick's not too bad. The quality is quite good. The thing that I don't like about this is it's made for some type of lock which we don't have. Normally it has a little pin in here. This particular one doesn't, and it doesn't also fit my standard type of lock. I'm pretty sure we use 7.5, but after looking at this, I'm going to have to pull out the vernier calipers and measure it, because what I've noticed is it doesn't even fit onto the lock. Looks like it should, but it misses out by a fraction there. So back to the drawing board on that one. Good lockpick, but probably never get used at all because it doesn't suit the standard locks which we use in Australia. And that's 7.5. I've purchased other ones at 7.5 and they do work. So that's a little bit disappointing. As to what make or model I've purchased there, I'm not too sure, but that's a failure and that's gone wrong. There's some markings here so you don't make the same mistake. SUK 243175 minus V6 SO pack. Alright, so that's a bit of a fail. Next tool I bought was the foil lock picking kit for dimple type keys. Now, I found this kind of interesting. We have multi-lock interactive here. I wouldn't mind actually trying to see if I can do that with this foil technique. Over in China and other places, they seem to be having a lot of luck with it. And I seem to be seeing more and more hardware coming from China, door locks and door kits, where they're actually using a dimple key on the front door, which is unusual. And although it is a European profile cylinder, there are other ways around it. It is good to have, and I thought, well, now's a good chance, since door companies are starting to install them, that I try this. So you can see the profile of this particular blank right here. 2 grooves on that side. So we have our grooves and our dimples along this side, and grooves and dimples along there. This one here, once again, slightly different. You can see that. Okay, and they should be different they're looking pretty much the same, but they are actually slightly different. So there's, yeah, I think that might be 4. So there's one that way, flip around, one that way, and then one that way. So 4 different profiles in these two blanks. This is for bending and stretching your shim or your foil to straighten it up and to line it up. There is videos on it, on how to use these measurements on the side, how to bend it, how to accurately gauge it and things like that for particular types. And here's the piece of metal that, yeah, I think what you would be doing is sliding this up through, getting it into the lock, pulling it out, impressioning it until it gives. I bought the extra shim here, so it's, you know, $20 investment plus extra 20 or 30 for the actual device. And in here they just include some more shims, if I can get it open. Okay, now that's your standard pack right there, so you're probably talking good 30 or 40. So that would be enough to test it. You probably don't need to go to this level of purchasing that as well. I just did because I thought, well, once I run out of shim, I don't want to have to pay $40 for postage and have to buy a whole another set. So I bought extra at the time, and it looks like something reasonable, which actually might work. So I thought it's probably best to buy a few extras to give it a good test, and then I'll know if it's worthwhile having or not. But I mean, the price is always right when it comes from China. That's why it's worth a test. So that's the shim tool. That's the latest one. Now this one here, I'm not too sure why or what, but these are meant to be like trim type pliers here. At $12 I thought they might come in handy. They're actually jagged all the way down. They're probably about 3 mil, 2.5 mil. They're solid construction, good grips. So yeah, I bought them. Not too sure what I'm going to do with them, but I bought them too. $12, couldn't pass it up. Next tool is this one here. Once again, this was under $20, and I think about all the tools that we've made over the years to do little jobs and things like that. And then I came across this tool here, and I thought, well, even if it's suited for a lock that's not one that I use, because it's got the driver down the back, I could probably just put that on the mortise machine, take it down to a single lever, and then use it as a pick, which kind of suits my needs. So I thought for the price, it's a lot easier than manufacturing it. It's spring-loaded. You know, this is like 20, 25 bucks. It's spring-loaded here, and with enough travel there, that's exactly what you need. You've got your control over your driver, or I forget what that's called now. Anyway, the bolt. You got the bolt right there, and you got your levers here. I don't know how accurate it is having all your levers like that, or what that's even going to do, because as soon as you start moving down, you'll be hitting the case and things. But it does allow you to pretty much just take it down with the mortise machine, just leave one lever on there, and you can go through and pick it. So when I looked at it, I thought, oh well, you know, for what it is, I think I'll give that a go. Even comes with another little handle here, give you some better feel on the bolt. And for the price that it is, I thought it was extremely cheap, and it's a better place to start than having to make your own picks. So I thought for $12, you know, I'll buy one of them, and I'm pretty sure it'll come in handy on an old-fashioned 2-lever mortise lock along the way. Next one I bought. Now this is a Lishi tool, and this is the, I think, Mark III ones. Has the glow in the dark, lifetime guarantee. Not one of the Chinese knockoffs. I actually purchased, you know, the quality on this one, and this one is T81 3-in-1 HU100. Now the first thing I like about their cases is they all slide together. So I'm starting to collect more and more now, and the cases all slide together to create like a big chunk, which is really cool. So yeah, I like the cases on these Lishi. Now looking at this new Lishi, I must say that's pretty impressive. I'll see if I can do a video later on, find a HU100 lock. But these ones are all black. The finish is awesome, and if it's anything like their other tools, it'll be a well-used tool and serve me a long time. So the last few Lishi tools I've got, I use them all the time. They work really well compared to some of the other type lock picks out there, you know. So it's worthwhile spending the money on Lishi. And the quality on that, it's like a stainless steel. It's been anodized black. The precision on that, if you can see. And you have your marking gauges here, which are awesome. Now, they do call it night vision, so I'm not too sure on which part of this will actually glow. I'm guessing that these little numbers here will glow, but haven't checked it. And then again, if you've got to do this in the dark, you're going to really be struggling, because it's, you know, easier to do it with the light. So there's that tool there, the Lishi tool. These are all the new tools I bought this week. It's always good to have tools, and there's a million tools out there for locksmiths, so you can just keep buying and buying and buying. And each car is different, so start off with one car, buy all your tools, then you got to move over to the next car. Okay, so next tool I have over here is jigglers. Now, most people think of jigglers, they always think of gas caps and cam locks and things like that. But surprisingly enough, we've had some tricky locks here, the Lockwood 201 cylinders, and some Lockwood locks that are coming out with basically spool pins, mushroom pins in them, and they're getting extremely tricky. So by having a set of jigglers, they've come in handy not only on automotive, but actually using them for some residential pin type tumbler locks as well. And what I've worked out is that if you use a tension wrench on them and you put them into your lock, you can actually replicate some of the different shapes of keys. And it has worked on some of the spool pin locks that are unpickable, which 90% of locksmiths are actually drilling out. So if you're about to drill it out, you get this set here, and generally they're about $10, $15, even cheaper from China. They're made of just stainless. The cheap ones are probably made of steel, and it doesn't hurt to actually go through the combinations and see if you can get a bit of love using jigglers, because as you see, the length is good, the shapes are all different. And on some locks that I could not pick whatsoever, put half an hour into them, could not pick, I've actually been able to jag it using jigglers and a tension tool. So that's why jigglers this time is on the shopping list. This is my second set. I do have other sets which I had some success with, even with pin tumbler locks, and that's why I purchased another set. Now I saw these here. These are what's known as comb picks, generally used on padlocks and things like that. But I saw these here, and once again the price was right. You know, $20 for a whole set. You get a set of 4, made of stainless steel, laser cut and stainless steel, so they're actually reasonably strong, and the design is quite good. They've just got a bit of heat shrink over there for a bit of comfort, and you've got them in 6-pin variations, high and low, different spacing and things like that. Now the reason, there's your padlock on there, the reason I purchased these was because I want to try the method of using them on pin tumbler locks, especially on domestic, and seeing if they're actually going to work. I have had some luck with the new Lockwood 001s, being able to use a comb pick and a piece of shim and being able to bypass it that way. Only problem is you do get your comb pick stuck from time to time. Although it's not perfect, and there's a fine line between the pressure needed put and lifting up your pins, it is possible, and it has worked, but yet not perfected. So when I look at this, I'll just give you a quick look. Which one is it? Not that one, not that one, this one here. So one of these is of particular liking to me because I do that, and if you can see that, we're right on the money with that particular spacing right there. They come in 2 sizes. This is your longer one, this is your smaller one. So what you really want to know and what you really want to see is what's happening right about now. And if you can see that there, I would be saying about a mil off, and as you know, most pins are ramped, so it is a possibility using that. It is definitely a possibility using that. So that's comb picks there. As I said before, we don't tell you how to lockpick, but people who do lockpick for a living will know exactly what I'm talking about. I have tried it on a Lockwood cylinder already today. I didn't have any luck. The top pins were sort of banging up against each other and was crushing the springs, so they're not exactly going to work for the Lockwood new new mushroom pin locks, but they might work along a lot of other locks. And if it's a difference between drilling and not drilling, that gives you an option, and then the jigglers give you another option. So these are out of the box type options when you're lock picking, but preferably to prevent pulling out a drill. So this is my collection. We've got the jigglers, we've got the comb, we've got the foil, we've got the old mortise pick, we've got the lishy, we've got pliers that we don't know what to do yet, but we will find out. So let's put him over there. There we go. Found a use for them. And then we move over to the Tubular 7.5, which was a complete fail. Got the wrong size. But the hole saw, or the tubular hole saw here, which I can't wait to stick through a lock and see how quick that goes. I might do another video shortly just to see on how quick that actually does work. But yeah, that's the tools for this week. Can't help but buying them, especially when they're cheap. And as they come good, or as I use them, and if they're extremely good, I'll be leaving a video on them. So just some tools you may or may not have seen, or you may be thinking about ordering, and a bit of an idea on what you can use them for. Thanks for watching.